is very charitable and always gifting his friends, his servitors, always giving to his servitors. There are some examples that come to mind. Jatayu, the bird devotee of Lord Ram. You would think that Jatayu is a failure. And why should Ram reciprocate with Jatayu? Jatayu couldn't stop Ravana from kidnapping Sita Devi. But Jatayu gave it his all and all. Certainly he was outmatched against Ravana, but he tried his best. But he was mortally wounded by Ravana. His wings were cut. So there in the forest, in a pool of blood on the ground, lay Jatayu. Meanwhile, Ram and Lakshman are desperately searching the forest for Sita. Where is she? Where is she? Where is she gone? What has happened? And they came upon Jatayu on the ground in a pool of blood. Ram thought this could be a Rakshasa, a flesh-eating demon who's taken the form of a bird, because they're on red alert as they're walking in the forest. And of course, Sita's gone, so you can just understand the transcendental emotions of the Lord being separated from his pleasure potency, apparently. So Ram strings his bow, because very well, this could be a Rakshasa, an Asura. But then he recognizes that this is his dear devotee Jatayu. And so with his dying breath, Jatayu informs Ram that Sita Devi has been kidnapped by Ravana and taken to Lanka. He gives that information, that crucial information to Ram. Of course, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Bhagavan, full of all knowledge, omniscient. But this is Leela. For the Supreme Personality of Godhead, this is all pleasure. You would say to yourself, well, I don't know if I could undergo that kind of pleasure, having to go through that kind of ordeal. But we are Jiva's minute part and parcel, and Ramchandra is the complete whole. We suffer in the material world, and we can't say it's our pastime. Our body is punishment. I know that goes contrary to New Age notions, but indeed the body is punishment. Sooner or later, everyone realizes that. But for Ram, his form is Satchidananda. His pastimes are Satchidananda. His name is Satchidananda. So he gets that information from Jatayu. And what's the last thing Jatayu says before leaving his body? His last breaths are just Ram, Ram, Ram. And then he dies. Lord Ramachandra and Lakshman perform the funeral ceremonies for this great Ram Bhakta, this great devotee, Jatayu. Just see how dutiful and how reciprocative is Lord Ramchandra. That's the first example that comes to my mind. I always wonder, just see the Supreme Personality of Godhead performing a funeral ceremony for his devotee, who did his best, who gave his all in all in devotional service. Externally, materially, it looks like Jatayu failed. But that's not the point. just like Krishna tells Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. Victory or defeat is not your concern. You just be an instrument in the fight. That's your perfection. So sometimes there is what appears to be material setbacks for devotees, and sometimes there seems to be great victories. But the real triumph is that the devotee is always engaged in Krishna's service. Mam chayo vyabhacharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatityaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Regardless of what materially it looks like, happiness or distress, victory or defeat, because the devotee is steadfastly engaged in devotional service. That's the victory. So Ram's handling of Jatayu's funeral ceremony shows Ram's gratitude, his gratefulness, his indebtedness to his devotee servitors. What's another example? When Ram re-entered Ayodhya after destroying Ravana and his demoniac horde, Ram arrived back in Ayodhya, victorious. And as soon as his chariot arrived in Ayodhya, he was giving and giving and giving. He had barely set foot in Ayodhya again before he said, "My palace, give it to Sugriva." And then he started rewarding all the monkey soldier leaders with ornaments and cloth. And he gave Sugriva some of his ornaments. Angada also, the monkey chieftains. According to the Ramayana, the monkey soldiers, upon entering Ayodhya, assumed human forms, in case you're interested in details. And he gave a beautiful necklace to Sita Devi. But she decided to, in turn, give that to Hanuman. But being a very ideal other half of Ramchandra, she looked at him for his permission. Can I give this to Hanuman? You wouldn't mind? You gave it to me, but I'd like to give it to Hanuman. And Ramchandra gently indicated, yes, yes, give it to Hanuman. So giving is the hallmark of Lord Ramchandra. Another example is Lord Ramachandra, upon being coronated finally as the ruler of Ayodhya, he's performing yajnas. Now, whom should Ramchandra perform yajnas for? Who are the yajnas being offered to? Lord Ramchandra, as the conductor of the yajnas, has no other option but to offer the yajnas to himself. Because as the Vedas say, Yagyavai Vishnu, all yajnas are meant for the pleasure of Vishnu. So what else do you expect Ramchandra to do? Who did you expect he would offer yajnas to? Just like in Dwarka, when Krishna awakens in all his palaces, his 16,108 palaces, with his 16,108 consorts. When he wakes up, what does he do? Householders, upon rising, are supposed to meditate on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Krishna and Dwarka, as Dwarkadish, did that. You have a problem with that? He's being a dutiful, committed householder, showing the example that householders should rise early and perform yajna for the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which in this day and age means chanting Hare Krishna. So Ramachandra indeed rose early and conducted yajnas with the help of priests, of course, for himself, because that's Dharma. All for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So after the yajna is over, the brahmanas are usually rewarded. So Lord Ramachandra first rewarded the priests of the yajna. He gave them everything in the north direction, everything in the west direction, everything in the east direction, everything in the south direction. And then for the brahmanas in general, because he's thinking, what about all the brahmanas? Brahmanas have no material desires. Therefore, they should possess the whole world. Now, you might say, well, you already gave to the Brahmana priests everything in the north direction, south, east, and west. What do you have left? But you're dealing with Sri Ramachandra. He says, all right, to the rest of the Brahmanas, wherever they be, I give the land in between the north and south, in between the east and the west. Brahmanas have no material desires. They keep only for themselves what they need, and they distribute the rest. These are one of the 6 duties of a Brahmana. Patan patan, yajan yajan, dana pratigraha. The Brahmana studies the Vedic literature, teaches others the Vedic literature. The Brahmana worships the deity, teaches others to worship the deity, and the Brahmana gives charity and receives charity. So Lord Ramachandra had genuine Brahmanas under his jurisdiction. So he gave them everything. Srimad Bhagavatam points out he gave everything to the extent that he was only left with his personal garments. And Sita Devi followed suit. She gave all the profuse ornaments she was wearing so that she was only left with her nose ring and a bracelet. You might say, well, only left with a nose ring and bracelet. What else was she wearing? She must have been laden. She gave it all away. And then what happened? The Brahmanas were very pleased with Ramchandra. Their hearts, Shukadeva Goswami says their hearts melted. These are the kind of relations we would long to have, to be able to deal with persons so that their hearts melt. And that's what Ramachandra was capable of with his giving and charity. He was not giving with a grudge. All right, I have to give this, so anyway, here it is. Or it's my duty to give it, so I guess I have to do it. Who wants that kind of gift? Everyone loves to be given with heartfelt emotions and sincerity. And the Brahmanas, they knew this is how Lord Ramachandra gives charity. So their hearts melted. They appreciated his affection, his favor. And now they're going to reciprocate in turn. So how can they reciprocate? They didn't refuse his gifts. They accepted all of that. But then they gave it right back to him. Their hearts were melted. Ramchandra's heart is melted. Everyone is treating one another with such affection. They told Ramachandra, we are satisfied because you have enlightened us from within. We don't need any material donations. Just by what you're giving us in the core of our heart as enlightenment, we Brahmanas are satisfied. One important point that Prabhupada makes in his purports is that the chief executive, the head of state, should always be giving and retain stocks, especially of food grains, to give to the people in time of need. And Brahmanas are not greedy. So they, out of love, accepted the gifts of Ramachandra, and out of love, they returned them to him, acknowledging, pointing out, you've given us the most valuable thing. You've given us our spiritual awareness in the core of our heart. So as we meditate on this giving of Ramchandra, his liberality, his magnanimity, his mildness, his humility, his modesty, we can think about how he interacted with the citizens. We've heard about the Brahmanas. We've heard about Jatayu. What about the citizens in general in Ayodhya? Shukadeva Goswami says that Ramachandra cared for the citizens exactly as a father cares for his children. That means he trained the citizens. He made sure that they were trained in proper behavior and qualities. That's what a genuine father does. Of course, the Western standard of fatherhood is you just tell your children, just be happy your own way. Whatever you want to do is all right with me, as long as you're happy. That's considered fatherhood or motherhood. But this is not the case in any way during the reign of Ramchandra. In India, especially today, there is still that sentiment for Ram Raja, the kingdom of Lord Ram. But besides feeling that sentiment, because everyone would love to have a government that takes care of them, that is so expert that, as during the time of Lord Ramchandra, during his reign, there were no discrepancies, there were no natural afflictions, there was no old age, and there wasn't even death for those who didn't want it. And at the end of Ram's Leela, he put his lotus feet in the hearts of all the residents of Ayodhya and took them all back to Vaikuntha, to Ayodhya Dham and Vaikuntha. So let's discuss a bit how Ramchandra trained his citizens. Srila Prabhupada is very strong on the point that people require training. The big flaw in democracy is that if you have fools electing a leader, they just elect a fool. And then they complain because the people are not trained. They don't know what to do. So therefore, you just have a fool's paradise for the people and by the people. So Bhagavatam is not advocating this mundane political system or that mundane political system. The Bhagavatam is advocating Krishna's system for the material world, which is Varnashram Dharma. Krishna's own system. It's a material system, but it's devised by Krishna. That people are classified according to their propensities and their lifestyle. And they're trained how to be a grihasta. They're trained how to be a brahmachari. They're trained in all the 4 ashramas. Everything is not so willy-nilly, chaotic like today. The citizens are trained in good qualities, good behavior. The government takes responsibility for that. And this is what Ramchandra did. Otherwise, how do you expect peace? How do you expect tranquility? How do you expect law and order? It's like walking into the zoo and telling all the animals, now, be peaceful animals, behave properly. What do you expect? But that's what we have today. We have chaos today because the citizens are not trained in their occupational duties and their lifestyle duties. And so therefore you just see mayhem. So Ramachandra was not that kind of leader. He took responsibility. He knew that simply making laws and enforcing them will not uplift the citizens. You can't have good citizenship just through laws and enforcing laws. People need to be trained. So we should take note of this important aspect of Ram Raja. Everyone wants peace on earth. Everyone wants no war, no greed, unless the money's in your pocket. Everyone expects that there'll be world peace through sense gratification. It's not going to happen. It's impossible. The citizens must be trained. So Ramchandra excelled in this, and all his citizens loved him. They could think of nothing else except Ramchandra. So this is how to have the ideal kingdom. You can't just form a political party and say, we're Ram's party. You have to do what Ram did, which is train the citizens. Even in India today, in some parts of India, when politicians want to play on the sentiments of the people, they refer to Ram. But they have no program for training the citizens as Ram did. So these are important aspects for us to remember on Ram's appearance day. As spirit souls in material bodies in the material world, we actually have a longing for living in a society such as what Ram administered. So that longing is not fantasy. It's not artificial. It's not just some delusion that human beings have. Just like the desire for pleasure is there in the living entities because they're part of Krishna. And Krishna is the supreme pleasure lover, the supreme pleasure seeker. So similarly, the desire that we have for living in an enlightened society is there because we're part of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ramchandra, who gave his citizens a perfect society. So our longings are not unjustified, but they'll never be realized without being trained. So that is the great mission that Prabhupada's society has ahead of it. Who is training people? Who is preparing citizens for making wise decisions? No one is doing that. So we have to begin with ourselves. The doctors have to heal themselves first. So finally, let us remember that although Lord Ram gave everything away, although the Brahmanas gave it all back, no one surpasses Ramchandra as Gauranga Mahaprabhu in giving, because Gauranga Mahaprabhu gives what no other avatar has ever given, pure love of Krishna. So with that, we end our short Rama Navami presentation. Think about it, and I thank you all for your association. Hare Krishna, Jai Sri Ram.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Thank you so much, Maharaj, once again. And a very happy Ram Navami to you and all the devotees present in this Zoom forum and also at the Sri Sri Radhagiri temple. Maharaj, expressing our gratitude for wonderfully sharing the Ram's pastimes with us. So thank you so much for that. And we'll be now concluding our program here, and we'll continue the rest of the program at Sri Sri Radhagiri temple. So once again, everyone, thank you so much. Hare Krishna.